This is our final presentation of CAP 5150. The project is done by Eddie, Elmedin, and Sakina. We did our research paper on getting a better understanding of the gap between reality and expectations of workforce preparedness in the cybersecurity field. Our problem statement is that there is a gap between what organizations are expecting of potential new employees skill-wise versus what they are actually getting. Our motivation is that us as grad students can really relate to this issue because sometimes companies expect too much from you, or maybe you don't feel prepared enough because of the way you were taught. For example, everyone learns in different ways. I personally, like other people, learn better doing hands-on activities, and some people don't get enough of that at school. And this all adds up and ends up hurting the cybersecurity field. Makes it difficult to get your foot in the door when you're trying to find that first job. It causes workforce shortages because companies do not want to hire inexperienced workers or spend too much time training them, with the exception of internships, which are actually a good thing for organizations. Meanwhile, the educational system is not doing enough or should make changes like a set in stone standard of classes that should be followed universally. The National Institute of Standards and Technology stated that the lack of a cohesive training initiative is one of the challenges that employers face, which doesn't help students. No prior knowledge and experience, apart from things like basic IT skills, leads potential workforce members to be confused on where to start if they're interested in entering the field of cybersecurity. This leads back to the last slide where I said it's difficult to find that first job, and this all causes discouragement amongst the workforce to continue in the field. People that are even slightly interested in the cybersecurity field should be encouraged by these organizations that need the workforce. There is no doubt that there is a gap in reality and expectations when it comes to workforce preparedness, but in this paper, we try to get a better understanding of why this is the case.
Employers have been reported to be dissatisfied with education programs, not fully preparing students either by not having enough practical experience or just not having an understanding of the fundamentals of cybersecurity. In fact, 61% of organizations believed that fewer than half of all the applicants for open cybersecurity positions are actually qualified for the job. The field of cybersecurity is continuously growing, and it is expected to keep on growing. It not only demands leadership, collaborative, and analytical skills, but also practical skills which are built over time with experience. The recent graduates may have an idea of what is expected and the skill, but not the adequate experience for the task.
We used surveying as our approach. So the core of our paper was researching and getting the feedback of cybersecurity related people. The main technique we attempted to address was to survey people who are involved in cybersecurity, whether they are students or already part of the workforce. The survey we did consisted of several people. The people, of course, mainly were employees, and each had their own questions. And questions would be like, did you feel prepared when you first joined the cybersecurity workforce, or did college do a good job at preparing you? We also used other research papers to supplement our findings. And at the end, after surveying 8 people, we found out that 60%, which makes about 6 out of 8 of the surveyed people, did not feel ready enough and wished they knew more when they started their career. 2 of the interns, for example, that just started their career, were asked what would be their next plan after internship. They both answered that their next plan would be to find a full-time job on the cybersecurity field. 2 students who were part-time asked if they are ready to take a huge step on this path. They felt a little scared because they were still not ready enough. Another employee was asked, what are the skills you expect your newcomer employees to have? The response he gave was knowledge and a good amount of skill set on things like networking, Python, cryptography, and other related materials. And he also mentioned that higher degree would put a student ahead of others. 3 students were also questioned if they feel ready about their next steps. We also asked them if their college does a good job at preparing them for this. But interestingly, none of them wanted to pursue their master's degree. And the reason they gave is because they want to start working as soon as possible and earn money. So according to IT Security Certification Survey, the cybersecurity workforce numbers has increased by 11.1%, which makes about 4.7 million jobs in 2022 compared to last year. So there is a high demand for the cybersecurity field. Therefore, it also depends on the workers who need to close the gap by fulfilling the required skill set of the employers.
It should be highlighted that there is need for cybersecurity professionals with not only a higher education, but also a deeper understanding of the 21st century methodologies, which are evolving strategies and tools and hands-on experience. In order to, and for recent graduates to acquire these skills, it is recommended that they complete several hours of hands-on learning, and this would also improve the standard of the current training system. Our survey participants also agreed with us that one way to address this is by introducing a comprehensive training program for them and other students. The result of these training programs would be an acceleration in better results and skills that prepare recent graduates for the reality of work. There is a need to address the issue of outdated degrees, which leaves graduates unprepared and ultimately creates work gaps. Various roles require years of experience to fill the positions, whether they are entry level or intermediate level, and candidates may not be able to satisfy these roles. While skills are very important in the hiring of jobs advertised, a major issue graduates face is having experience. Skills are usually built over time with experience, and recent graduates may have an idea of what is expected and the skill, but not adequate experience for the task. The current system is failing to meet training needs to prepare graduates, and therefore it should be reformed to include compulsory internships and mentoring from experts in the field. As a group, we felt that we learned better with hands-on activities instead of watching or listening to someone speak. In conclusion, people entering the workforce are not as fully prepared as they should be, or as jobs require them to be. Our paper discusses how it be assisted with a better standardized education system, with a more hands-on approach, and with organizations taking matters into their own hand with better internship and training programs. It could also be concluded that the problem is that the students are given surface level education of multiple things rather than going in depth with one skill, and that a lot of the education is more theoretical. This leaves the students and new hires learning the hands-on portion while training on the job, when they should actually already be going to these jobs, being somewhat knowledgeable in what to do. And finally, the workforce number is going up, but is very slowly.
In this project, Eddie worked on the problem statement and the results. Elmadine worked on the survey, technique, and work distribution. Sakina did related works, discussion, and supplementing the results. We all added additional information where we could. For the presentation, Eddie did the motivation, problem statement, and conclusion. Elmadine worked on the approach and results. Sakina did the related work, work distribution, and discussion.